Green Inn. I was a busboy about 30 years ago.
Oh, really?
I came here to experience nature.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great park.
It's a national treasure.
Yes, it definitely is. All right, who are you?
Stephen Maletsky from West Monterey.
West Monterey. What do you do?
I'm a retired attorney.
Nice. I'm gonna move this a little bit closer just in case. There's a lot of noise from the river. You're right, retired attorney. Okay, so what made you originally get into law?
Well, I wanted to be responsible for other people's matters, you know. And it came to pass. You know, I got a law degree and got a job. I lost the job. I had opened up my own practice, and I was responsible for having doctors reimbursed for medical treatment to patients who had insurance who were not paying the doctors for their services.
I see. And have you lived in Mount Airy your entire life? Or have you lived in Philadelphia your entire life?
No, but I have come back to Philly. I moved to Philadelphia when I was 9 in 1977.
I see.
Then I practiced in New Jersey for 20 years. And then I came back 9 years ago and have lived here ever since. Wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
Yeah, I love it here. I live in Germantown.
Nice.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like I get a lot of that. I have a lot of friends that live in Mount Airy. All right, so I was just doing a little segment where I was in front of the camera and I was telling, I'm not necessarily going to put this on the internet or put it anywhere. It's for a school. It's my junior project. Instead of doing an internship, with a lawyer or a doctor or whatever, like many of my friends are doing, I decided that I wanted to help give people voices that don't necessarily have a voice in the public. It's a new type of journalism it's getting more popular, but it's put simply, I personally don't necessarily care about giving like what some people call important people a platform to speak, because I hear so much about politicians and celebrities. I don't need to hear that again. I want to hear about you. I want to hear about other people that I meet in Philadelphia, and that's what's important to me.
You want real news.
Yeah, I want real news, and I want real. I also want to expose the connections that we, us as Philadelphians have with each other. So I'm going all around different parts of Philadelphia. I've gone to Chestnut Hill, Manayunk, Fridays, Fishtown. Next week, I'm in more of the city. But it's that's what that's what I aim to do. And I was just telling the camera how difficult it was to get interviews here within the Wisahickon. I've gone to two other locations and it hasn't been much of a problem. But you mean we're just on a day even when the weather is nicer, it's been difficult? I mean, yeah, it's been even on a day when the weather's worse, it's been easier than in the Wisahickon. I think there's fewer,
it has been easier
to get interviews
in the Wisahickon.
No. The Wisahickon is extremely hard to get interviews.
So it's been easier to get interviews elsewhere than the Wisahickon, than at the Wisahickon.
Which is exactly it's opposite of what I thought it would be. But it's
well, people come here to relax and to experience nature, not be interviewed by a journalist.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me why you might have some difficulty, interviewing, some nature lovers.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I've used the park so much for recreation in the past few years. I feel very connected to it. But I just figured that it would be
exactly
be a place. So, I have some questions written down that I want to ask you. And this is the first interview I'm doing with questions. So,
go ahead.
As you progress through your life, do you find yourself searching for answers and conclusions with facts or feelings? What is it? What is a fact to you? What power do feelings have?
Well, they drive me to obtain objective facts. You know, emotions are responses to thoughts. And in the sensationalism of the news these days, you know, people, I can speak personally, they even drive me initially to buy into their messages, trying to elicit emotions, and I resist that. I want objective news. I want objective facts. I want to be able to make decisions on my own based on you know, objectivity. That's what I see you being able to do. You know, is getting people's experiences, real experiences.
Yeah.
Untainted. You know, original thoughts.
Yeah. And I think it's growing more and more valuable in a society where facts are really at our fingertips when it comes to our ability to get any answer from Google or any answer from, you know, about anything. I think that we lose the discussion aspect. That's what I really am aiming to have with you and with other people, is an honest and open discussion about who you are and who I am as a person.
Who am I? Well, that's taken 55 years to just scratch the surface to learn who I am. It takes a long time to learn who you are.
Yeah.
You know, but there's nothing more, I mean, you know, there's nothing more rewarding than knowing what you like and dislike so that you can pursue your, you know, your truth.
What have you, like, as you progressed through your career in law, did you ever find yourself, you know, taking issue with the things, like the way that things were going, like the way that, like, you had to do something? Because I feel like yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think that people work because things are going perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
People work for a number of reasons. I can speak from my own personal experience. And to answer your question, the system was broken, and I was part of the system. And you know, I did my best to present my client's case and my client's cases in you know, the most objective way to accomplish my ends. Now, as an attorney, you have to choose one side or another. And attorneys don't necessarily subscribe to the arguments that they're making. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Right. So that made it tough for me to be an attorney. I believe that I tried to be on the right side. Like I had said, you know, representing doctors to get them paid. Insurance companies were cutting patients off, particularly as a matter of fact, based on the location, the location of the patient, where they lived. So there was actually some of these insurance companies were exercising and demonstrating, making decisions based on racial criteria.
Yeah.
So that was very upsetting. I could have had a class action suit against a particular insurance company. Personally speaking, I commanded the dollar. I commanded my income according to the supply and demand. So I got out of it because the insurance companies lobbied for lower attorney's fees, and they won.
I see.
So it became, you know, it did not become cost effective for me to continue practicing law. So I was part of the problem.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had an opportunity to get out. My brother hooked me up, got me in touch with an attorney, and I sold my practice. And my mother I needed a place to stay. I was leaving New Jersey, leaving my life in New Jersey and coming home to help my mother. My mother, who was in her 80s, and making a new life for myself.
Yeah.
In retirement.
How do you? So, for me, I'm somebody. I go to a very good private school.
Yes, I know.
I have, I get good grades. You could say that on paper.
I should hope so. It looks like you've got a nice project going here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to continue this. It's for the whole entire month of January.
Excellent.
So I have a good. And even after that, I think I might do it on my own because it's very, very difficult. And this is what I'm getting into with this kind of thing I'm about to say. Is I have all these options. I could, from the position that I'm in, I could go in any direction. I think a lot of the kids at my school are in the same boat as me, where we're set up to have bit on paper perfect lives in terms of like jobs or college or whatever. And I think I struggle with picking a path to go to that I'm actually passionate about, in terms of like the core subjects in my school. I think it's, for me, has always been like the lesser of two evils. Even though I enjoy all my classes, I'd say that I don't see myself doing any of that. But I also want to give my kids, when I want to have kids, so when I'm older, I want to give those the same opportunities that I have growing up to them. And I think that right now with this project is me exploring what my life would be like if I went into art and I went into film and photography, like what I'd say more passionate about. And I think that your story where you got out of law because you were monetarily unsatisfied, right?
Correct.
That's
Not unsatisfied, unable to meet my expenses.
Yeah. But you felt that you were providing a service for people, and that's it's interesting. It's I think I'm growing a lot through this process too of interviewing people, because I want to find my own answers. Like, I'm doing this because I want to find my answer to career or college. And sometimes I struggle with train of thought process. So I get distracted very easily. So I lost my train of thought a little bit. But
Well, you were talking about finding what you love.
Yeah.
And trying to figure it out early.
Yeah.
And the reality is you need to make a living to support a family. That's the reality. But the truth is, you will make a living if you do what you love.
Yeah. And I remember what I was going to say. And this idea of fact and emotion is very, very intriguing to me, because my classes that are fact based are a little bit easy to me. They're not easy, but they're easier to get my head around, versus this, where I have the last few weeks have been some of the most stressful, because
Why?
Because going up to people on the street is extremely difficult, and it's something that
Is that because you are intimidated, or is that because of your insecurities, or is that because the people on the street are suspicious?
I think it's the reaction that I get. I think it's a little bit dehumanizing at times. To me, it's a little bit it's difficult. Some people ignore me.
You can't let other people's opinions affect your initiative.
Yeah, I still do it. I'm still out here doing it, but
you have to you approached me in unaggressive, charitable sort of can you help me way, and there are people who want to help, and those are the people you need to seek out, and you will find.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's.
Do you? Let me ask you this. I'm a devout Christian. I'm a Messianic Jew, and I believe that my prayers get answered because I do the work.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Do you have a higher power?
Personally, well, I think that's a difficult question for me because I grew up in a Quaker setting with my school, so I
Okay.
think that for me the power comes from like me and you and whoever else is in the world. I think there's a little bit of power in every single person, but also, I also grew up in the boy choir tradition, and I've gone all around the world and been in so many churches and mosques and all these different like religious spaces, and they always have a power that I can't describe. But I wouldn't label myself as someone who's religious. No, I'm not.
Well, you don't have to be religious to have a higher power.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, or believe that there's a consciousness greater than yourself.
yeah. But I think for me, like I get that feeling, and I get the community, and like I really find like the power and the consciousness to be held within other people in my community. That's my truth, and I think that I don't necessarily think that there's a higher power, a higher consciousness like what you're saying, but I think that together we build something that's greater than ourselves.
Well, that's the first logical thing you said. Together, because you can't. No one can do it alone. You know, we need everybody.
Yeah.
You know, you needed me to come by and help you out, so together we're accomplishing your ends. You know.
And yes, I agree. And I think that
I don't disagree
I was-
with you.
No,
I mean,
I know.
the difference is that I am sensing in our belief systems is that you believe that the power.
Sorry, say it again.
I was just going to say, I think the differences between our belief systems involve whether. Well, let me identify where our belief systems, I believe, overlap, and that is in that there are opportunities within communities, and people need each other to discover truths.
Yeah.
Otherwise, our heads will be just cyclical thinking.
So my first interview that I did in this project was with a Catholic nun, and she said something very similar about just like the importance of religion, not necessarily Catholicism or Christianity, but just the community aspect of how we almost can't make decisions like alone and like just by ourselves, because it's not conducive to creating like an answer.
By yourself.
Yeah, by yourself. I think that like that's what I'm getting into with the community aspect.
Let's talk about your future. I mean, look, you need to understand what you want to do in life. What are your goals? What makes you inspired to continue to create? It seems to me journalism for you is at this point in your life a way to find community.
Yeah.
And you need to have the courage to accept someone who says no to your requests. And you need to find those people who will give you their time to have conversations like this. And there are people out there. And you will discover what you like and don't like about the process.
Yeah.
As long as you're in tune with yourself.
And I think I'm finding that now, and I am enjoying the process, but and for me, I also want to give everybody a chance, and I'm doing this the way I am. I'm not interviewing anybody that I know, anybody that I have any connection to, because I want to find people that I want to find people that I've never experienced before, ideas I've never had.
Broaden your horizons by
yeah.
hearing people from whom you are not familiar with.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing, and I think that that's what's important to me as well. Like, what's important to me is hearing new voices and new members of my community, because it's
That's
like
admirable. You want to expand your mind.
Yeah.
And you're doing that by talking to people that you do not know. You know, perhaps a diversity of people to whom you may not normally encounter. That to me is why it seems to me you are traveling to various corners of the city to meet different people.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I would start at home in Germantown. I'd watch your camera. You know, it's not every place is as safe as this beautiful spot in Chestnut Hill. But I'd go to Manayunk. I would go to Kensington and talk to the drug addicts, but not for long, and hear how much pain there is and how much despair there is. And I would also go to Old City and find out why there's so much greed, and why people want to re-elect the criminal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it is like, I do have plans to go to almost all those places. I'm not I think with who I am right now, I'm not exactly comfortable with going into like somewhere like Kensington.
You gotta be comfortable. You gotta be comfortable, because you're not trying to overcome discomfort. You're trying to get information from people who are willing to share it with you.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you need to be comfortable. So go where you're comfortable. Stay safe. I totally endorse that.
And I think I agree, and I think that I'm finding more comfort. I'm finding like today, like on Friday, is probably gonna be the day that I'm most nervous for, because it's a part of the city I've really spent no time.
Where you headed on Friday?
Fishtown. I've really never.
That borders on Kensington.
Yeah, it does.
Why are you going to Fishtown?
Just because it was it's a big part of the city.
It's gentrification in Fishtown.
Yep. But I also want to get that. I want to talk to people who, it's the same with, it's a similar prospect with Mount Airy. I'm sorry, with Manayunk. I was just there, and I was just talking with two guys. It's really, a part of the excitement for me is the stories and the people that I'm meeting, in these interviews. It is really, really, really important to me to hear these stories. I met these two men. One of them, they're both like bodyguards, both security guards, I guess, and they do it, like for their main job. And this guy also owns 2 child care facilities, and I was like, that's really interesting. Like, how did you get into bodyguards and this? And he was like, well, my mom did it, but also I just want to give opportunity to people like the opportunities that I didn't have growing up. And I was like, that's really interesting. And we got into talking more about, his experience growing up, and he told me a story of they took the summer camp to the Huntington Valley Swim Club, like 73 like African American students, like kids, and they were it was like such a big deal for the Huntington Valley Swim Club that they basically took their money, but they told them they had to leave. And it was ended up being like a $1.1 million settlement for racial discrimination. That's like to me, that's like the most. I mean, first off, I was surprised I hadn't heard about it, but it was really, really interesting. Like just the people out here, like the stories that people have
That's an extraordinary story. I mean, not all the time do you hear about a racial lawsuit involving so many children.
Yeah.
That's extraordinary.
It is really, and it's really, really like, just surprising to me. Just because it's like somebody who I happened to go up to. I almost didn't talk to that guy. Almost. I was like extremely
Get out of your
close.
comfort zone.
It wasn't necessarily my comfort zone, but it's one thing I'm learning a lot about is the psychology of who people want to approach in the street, and I think like his demeanor wasn't necessarily.
Let me give you a piece of advice. Sometimes attraction is more important than promotion. We'll accomplish more ends, and we'll.
What do you mean by promotion?
Well, you promoted your project to me, and I was kind enough to accept your invitation.
Yeah.
That's promotion. Had I inquired into your project, that would be you attracting me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you would serve you to attract people to you rather than you promoting your project.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
I agree. I understand. I agree.
Like, people, look, on a nice day, people are going to walk by, you're going to be fiddling with your camera, and they're going to ask you, what you're doing.
Yep.
I think your project can be a lot easier than it's been in the past.
I agree. But also, I think that I think a lot of this is my own growth. And I think that I want to, there are people who I may miss out on. And I think that it's
You'd be surprised who will stop and talk to you.
No, I've done this. I've had a lot of people come up to me because I'm.
You know who I recommend you go talk to?
Who?
The chess players at Rittenhouse Square.
Yeah, I'm going there on the 15th.
Good.
So I'll go. I'm gonna go try to talk to.
You're gonna hear some real stories from those guys.
Yeah. Maybe I'll play a game of chess with them.
Well, if you want to lose $1, go right ahead.
I'll lose $25. I'm not that good at chess. Yeah.
'Cause they're pretty good chess players.
Yeah. I'd love to actually do that. I'm definitely gonna go do that. But it's a type of thing where I did think about the whole attraction part of it, like possibly even a sign or a stand. But I think that a lot of this is exploring, like what makes people stop. And I think that in my first day,
kindness in their heart, the openness to exploration,
but it definitely helps.
The generosity of their time.
Yeah. But that's also another thing is that I didn't ask you for. Initially, I didn't ask you for 10 minutes of your time. I asked you to help me with something, and that changed a lot when I started doing that. I was at the first few days. I was asking for. I was like, "Do you have 10 or 15 minutes to spare? I'm working on this project," and people were not very receptive to that. They did not necessarily care to stop. But I once I switched, I started asking people, "Oh, do you just have?" Can you help me with this film project I'm working on for school? Because it's very different. And I had
definitely there's a difference between can I have 10 minutes of your time and can you help me? There's a big difference between those two asks.
Yeah. There's a lot of difference.
What did you say your name was?
Walter Savage.
Nice to meet you, Walter.
Nice to meet you too.
I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Is that all you need to ask me?
That's perfect.